Guys, it's Monday. It's the best day of the week. I think it's time for a little positivity. Hello, one and all, and welcome to this week's Positivistream, the nonsensical name I came up with that I'm sticking with. But of course, I'm not alone. I have Tabletop Junkie with me. How's it going?
Hello. It's going. It's going good, man. It's going great. I can't. I am like bouncing out of my chair in excitement.
Of course, it's Monday. It's like, what more reason do you need?
Well, tabletop games. That's why. That's another reason. So, hence my name.
Yep. So I suppose to give you a little context, I'm of the opinion that Monday is not the worst day of the week. Truth be told, I think it's actually Tuesday, but that's neither here nor there. The important part is we want to sit here and make the most of the day.
Exactly.
So if the day sucks, I'm going to find something I can look forward to.
Absolutely.
For myself, well, I got me some of that delicious Baja Blast from Taco Bell.
That's good. Well, for me today, the highlight of my day was actually, guys, to let some of the people out there that, may watch both me and Ironcaster, to let you guys know the reason why you guys haven't seen a stream out of me is I'm actually relocating, and where I'm relocating to, I will have my own private studio.
Ooh, that's even better.
Yes. I'm excited.
So you'll have your own tabletop library?
Oh, it's going to have everything. We're going to have all the, we're going to have the tech in there. We're going to have a mini fridge is actually, we just put a mini fridge in there. We have a mini cooler going in there. If we don't want to open up the mini fridge, at any given time that, if we lose power, I can use a mini cooler. Or if I just want to use it, I just want to use it because I don't want to walk upstairs. And if my fridge is full, I could use the mini cooler. I have a mini cooler. And then we've just, unloaded over 5 desks to go around the room to make sure it holds my streaming rig, which I'm currently not on. I'm actually on a backup computer at the moment to hold my streaming rig, as well as a separate TV and game systems. It's actually going to be a game room with a fold-up table for tabletop fun in real life.
Ooh. So is that mini fridge going to have your reserve of balls?
Possibly. Anyway. Maybe not that. It's gonna have a reserve of mostly right now because Tabletop Junkie's on a diet. He plays too much tabletop gaming and not enough exercise. So Tabletop Junkie's on a diet. So it's gonna be flavored water, and although this may be counterproductive, it's gonna have we're actually getting either today or sometime this week, a 24-pack of Monster.
Oh.
And Game Fuel soda.
Just because I don't think I've played this with you here. There's one thought about diets.
Yeah, exactly.
A big old robot slapping the nuts.
Yeah. I love the robots, man. I always love the robots. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons to be positive today. Ironcasters, any other reasons that you can think about being positive today? I think I came up with, a lot.
Well, look, Monday's the start of the week. It's a chance to let the past go behind us, and now we don't have to really worry about any of that, and we can kind of go forward. Look, the stuff that happened last week that might have sucked is past. We can't change that.
I don't know anything about last week. Last week's last week. It's in the past.
Exactly.
Mondays, my Sundays and Mondays, I like to spend to lay out my foundation for my week.
There you go.
That's what I use my Mondays for. This is a perfect example, doing the stream with you. We haven't gotten together for many streams, just you and I. Right. Collabing was actually a big thing, and everybody knows, you and I as two streamers, and the world pretty much knows this already because I shared it with everybody. You and I come from a long-standing history of tabletop gaming together.
Yeah, it's been 15 years of it now.
16. 15, 16, yeah, just about. We're up there. So
Yeah, because it was like right out of high school.
yeah, it was. We were 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
God, I miss being 18.
Hey, that's in the past.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, moving on. Well, and what you and I have to look forward to now is we're both still in the same boat, sort of. I mean, we have strayed on our separate accords from time to time with gaming, but we are still pretty much got that one common system that we both like.
Oh yeah, I mean, really, there's a lot of comparable ones,
Mm-hmm.
but I did want to get into a little bit of a couple of questions for you because I figured that's kind of the fun thing to do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, let me the easy one for you.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite dice?
Oh man, what is my favorite dice?
Yeah, dice size.
Oh, okay. The ones with the sides. That's a difficult question. Um, huh. I have to say all of them. They are all my favorite. But if I had to choose one, I'd have to go with first. We're looking at D20 or a D6.
Hmm.
The D20 reasons. The D20 because it goes with everything. You roll a D20 in almost every single type of game system, especially if it's a D20 system. The D6 because there is an entire system built around the D6 dice as well. I think I like any dice that is pretty much got a system built around it. And the only two dice that mainly have a system built around it are the D20, the D10 itself, not the percentile, and the D6.
Well, I mean, yeah, there are a few that are just like D6 exclusive.
Right.
What comes to mind, for example, with just D6 is BattleTech.
What comes to my perspective with D6s is really if you want to play a good space opera game, I think D6 is the best.
Okay. Any specific system?
I particularly like the generic West End Games D6 system. I think it was brilliant. You put in a number for your attributes. You can almost change it without actually changing anything at all. Saying, well, I don't want everyone to have +1, +2s. They can just have the next dice up. And you just roll a collection of D6s and you measure in successes or failures. I like probability. Probability is pretty good. And I've actually been finding myself doing a lot more probability, even with D20 games, because when I tell one, as you know, I do run games live. Got my son into this, and he's got all his friends into this. When I tell them, you have to get me a natural 20 to succeed. And we've been playing a lot of Castle and Crusades lately. They love Castles and Crusades. They got to roll a natural 20 to succeed because there's nothing that they roll 19 or lower is going to even match that, because in Castles and Crusades, a natural 20 is an automatic success. And I like and it just brings back the nostalgia of the old style D&D 3.5 edition for me, and it even brings back even some second and first edition qualities as well. And that's just what I like. That's what we started with. So Tabletop Junkie has advanced in all these systems. People have checked out my channel, seen all these systems I've worked with, but I have gone back to basics.
Okay. So to answer my own question, I like, even though it doesn't get enough attention, doesn't get enough love, the D12.
The D12 doesn't get any love, in my opinion.
No.
But it should. It should.
It's like the one dice in the set that is there, but just like never really gets attention. Because, I mean, World of Darkness was White Wolf. World of Darkness is like all D10s. You got all D6s.
Yep. The D4s don't get any attentions, but that's because that's not built to. It's built as the dice for the weaker forms.
Well, but
Uh,
even then,
mhm.
so it still has way more use than the D12.
You will roll 2d4s or 1d4 before you roll a d12. I will say that. The only time you actually roll a d12 is if you're holding a broadsword in your hand. And if you're using it two-handed. Because most two-handed weapons are d10s. So you are right. It doesn't get any love.
Yeah, like I said, it's just it's the dice I think that needs a little attention. Then again, that's not even looking at like Dungeon Crawl Classics dice.
Mm-mm.
Are you familiar with them?
Yes, I've actually read a few, but I don't remember seeing any d12s in there, to be honest.
Well, not just that. Because if you remember, the Dungeon Crawl Classics has all the funky dice.
Oh yeah. Oh, including the sphere. What is it? The one that it's like a diamond, but it stretches out into two triangle, like the cylinder. Yes, those ones. There we are.
You mean to tell me your favorite dice isn't the D16?
Or the D30? Ironcaster. How about that D24? It looks kind of hot there.
That's the sexy one.
I like the Roman numeral D6.
You mean the D3?
Is that a D3?
That is in fact the D3.
Oh wow! So it only goes. So it's a 6-sided dice that goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I wish we did get to see more of the D12 in action in some role playing games.
Yeah, it's like kind of like looking at it's always sort of this odd one that's always been part of them, but how often does it really get rolled?
Right. And you're showing all these dice you're showing all these different types of dice, but okay, so if you take that picture there and you count out the D4, the natural D4, the natural D6, all the way up to all the natural dice you get to buy, the D12 doesn't even get rolled half the time comparative to every other dice. Now, even the percentile gets about the same attention, but even in a lot of cases up to the GM, the percentile still gets rolled more than the D12. So it comes in a regular set. You don't have to buy it special. Some of those dice you have to buy special.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
like
you still get a D12 and it just sits there at the corner of your desk.
no, it sits in the bottom of the bag. Like maybe maybe they'll get to roll me today.
That's it, Ironcaster. You inspired me. I'm making a D12 system.
Well, I think you're not. Yeah, that would not be the first D12 system.
Really?
There is one under the name of Coyote and Crow.
I have heard of them. Yes, I never checked them out, unfortunately.
So all you need to know is it's basically what if Native Americans had Wakanda.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's like it seems like it's incredibly racist.
I was kind of thinking maybe around the lines of, well, no, you're simply right. There's no justifying that.
Yeah, and like they even like try to like up it and like, oh, we're just gonna take the the map of North America, and we're gonna flip it upside down. But they're still calling the top South.
Is all of Earth upside down too?
Yes,
Oh,
and
okay.
like
That makes
so.
sense.
All right, so the Wakanda analogy like is actually pretty apt because part of the backstory is like in the year like 1300 a meteor came to Earth and like Europe disappeared, never to come, and they all get their technology from like metals they got in a meteor. Vibranium.
Yeah. Sounds a little ripped off.
Yeah, it's
Isn't that
kind
how
of
vibranium came about originally?
yeah, that was how it had happened in the comics.
Oh, nice.
But like now the creator of that is like getting mad that people like just are not buying it and are not supporting it, even though it was a fairly successful Kickstarter.
Mm.
They're like to the
Perhaps you
point where
should
they
make a game that's called Dinotopia. That's a lot better.
dude, everything would be better with dinosaurs.
I know. Who doesn't love dinosaurs?
We need to just go full sword and sorcery, throw some dinosaurs in, and rocket ships and cavemen, and just basically make the He-Man role-playing game.
Yeah. Wait, aren't they already doing one of those?
No, that's like the one toy property that doesn't seem to be getting anything right now, unfortunately.
Weird, given the fact that you can kind of play Dungeons and Dragons or Castles and Crusades in the He-Man universe.
Well, also, there's what the astonishing swordsman of Hyperborea,
Mm-hmm.
which that's just Conan the Barbarian,
Right.
which He-Man, which was, the whole He-Man tried to make a whole. They wanted to make a He-Man. They wanted to make a Conan cartoon, but they couldn't get the rights, so they just went and made their own and called it He-Man.
Nice.
So yeah, how I can't talk.
That happens. I have that effect on people.
how's the RPGs been for you lately?
Enriching.
Okay.
Enriching. I'm not doing a lot of investments. I've pulled out of investing in new games right now because I'm still collecting on some of my originals, which is Star Trek. Star Trek was because I did like the Star Trek system. I liked what Modifius did with that one. I cannot praise them enough. They are gods. I felt like they really reached out to the Star Trek experience with that one. So I'm still collecting a couple things on that end, and then that's about to be wrapped up. I've actually there was a couple other things I was working on real quick, but now I'm actually once I finish up on my list, I'm actually moving to a little bit more on Castles and Crusades, and I'm actually doing map building. I use an online generator where I'm actually able to paint my own map.
Okay.
Yep, it's called Dungeon Doodler. So I've been kind of just playing around with that, getting used to it, and then I can export the file and re-upload it anytime I feel like it, and then I can save it to a not a JPEG, but a PNG file. So I'm gonna because when I go back to gaming, even on my site, I'm getting ready to move to some new programs here. When I move over, I'm going to be moving towards using probably OBS a little bit more, so that way we can show the movements on the maps, and we're going to be using pogs and stuff when I try to do the stream.
Okay, and I just thought I'd pull this up just to kind of
Oh yeah,
a
absolutely. Yeah, just play with that a little bit. It's actually, I've been doing a lot of, I use a lot of my map making. Now, when I do world maps, I kind of tend to, you can change all that. It takes a while to play with it. I played with it for a day. When that looks kind of weird.
Hey, we're experimenting.
Okay. Is that what we call that? All right. I do like Gimp, but Gimp is no good for this kind of map making. But I use Gimp for world map making on hex files. I like doing that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, this is a pretty neat little program.
Oh yeah. You can actually, you can also actually, you can go into that. You can also change the size of the canvas that you're working with. You could add doors, secret passages. They're all marked in there. I like to use numbers. I just like to use numbers. I don't use their, they have like symbols for monsters, and they tell you which monsters they are. Like, I think they have monster types only. Like, if you want a dragon, they have dragon. If you want like a humanoid, the humanoid could be anything. It could be a goblin, an orc, whatever they would consider those be. If you want like a mystical beast, you would have to name it yourself, but
Experimenting? Gimp? Sounds kinky already, boys. Hello, Brett.
I see him everywhere. I like the follow. He adds flavor and fun to all the streams.
What is this? Let's see. Huh. Yeah, actually, this is a pretty neat program. I like the cross hatching. I like that's pretty straightforward, I gotta say.
Yeah, it is. That's why I ended up using it quite a bit.
Yeah, this is from all
You
the
got
sites
you got templates. You got a lot. There's just so much. Like, I would have to get in the program. There is so much there alone. Now that's the Don John generator, which I've used that several times myself.
Oh, I've used this one a few times.
Gimp is also Mama Wolf says hi. She's following everybody.
I have a stalker.
Well, she likes to support she likes to support what I do. She likes to support what all my friends do. So she's a big supporter.
Well, I appreciate the notice and the attention.
Oh yeah. Like I said, for that program, I'd have to get a list for you. There's a lot there to play around with. Like I said, I played around with it for a good solid day or two before I started even trying to create a map of my own.
So, what is there any particular genre or system, or like any sort of genre or like kind of overarching world types you want to get down and play with and like coming up? So, I mean, for example, a lot of it is just the traditional fantasy, and
right.
there's basically throw a dart at an 80s movie and you have a new genre.
Oh, well, if that's the case, I should show you. I should share my Tubi list. I have a list on Tubi where I've got like. Were you ever aware of Sheena, the movie Sheena from like the early '80s?
I've heard of Sheena. It's been one I've been wanting to get to.
It's on Tubi. It's on my list, and I'm gonna watch it to inspire me going forward with Castles and Crusades.
What you need to do is get down with basically just go down the whole list of sword and sorcery films.
Oh yes, I got Sword and Sorcery. I got Sorceress. I've got Sheena. I think I've got Conan, both Conan and Barbarian and the Destroyer, the original, not the remake. I have a lot. There's a lot in there, and then I've already seen Sword and I think what was it? The Sword
and the Sorcerer.
Yes, I saw that one too. That one is good.
Dude, that freaking sword.
Oh yes, the three sword and two of them shoots out and then retracts back, and I'm like, yes, we had ideas in the '80s.
Oh, hey, Philip in the chat. Do you guys use a 3D printer to make your own miniatures? If not, why not? I've been looking at wanting to pick up a 3D printer. It's just in part space, but also I just haven't had the money around to pick one up yet. It is on the list. I want to get one.
Well, my reason is pretty much the same thing. Life gets in the way. However, that is changing because I'm already looking at getting a 3D printer to print miniatures. I actually have a family member that prints that has a 3D printer, and it definitely recommends it. And we were thinking about pulling our resources together to doing miniatures for games because he plays tabletop as well.
Okay.
So him and I, we don't play tabletop together because we're both DMs. So we kind of, but I told him, I said, dude, I'll play in one of your games. Just tell me when they are.
It sounds like you guys need to get into like war games. That way you can just like basically both throw armies at one another.
Yeah, does sound like that, right?
I mean, that would probably simplify things.
Yeah, probably would.
See, I didn't know Sheena had a TV series.
No, I thought it was a movie. It might be a TV series.
Oh, it's probably been everything. I know there are comics.
Oh, yes. Speaking of which, I've been trying to get into the ElfQuest comics too. Just to read up on some fantasy ideas that some people had. with
Was that
elves.
based on my recommendation?
Yes, you actually
Oh,
recommended
good.
it 2-3 years ago.
And yeah, that was the thing. Like ElfQuest, I was surprised just how influential, how popular it was, especially in the '80s,
Oh yeah,
because you would
absolutely.
see it pop up everywhere, like on the back of some like Marvel comics, where like here's a bunch of ElfQuest ads. Oh, you're reading that same issue of X-Men. Oh, guess what? Kitty Pryde is wearing an ElfQuest T-shirt.
Oh yes, yes, I remember that. Oh, good times.
And I think you can actually just read it all on their website.
Yeah, I believe all the comics are there. I've been actually meaning to, like I said, I've been getting back into it. Okay.
Because I mean, ultimately, it is just a good little like kind of semi-wholesome story about these elves in a fantasy land.
Oh
What's not
yes.
to love?
Sure, exactly. I've been watching the gamers a lot lately. I've watched it in the last couple of weeks. I've watched the gamers, the first gamers movie. I've watched about 20 times. The second one about 5. I've not watched the third one because that's mostly about a card game. I just watch it for
Wait,
the D&D portions.
you said the thing.
No, no, no. I said haven't watched the third one because it's more of a card game type
No, no,
thing.
no, no,
So,
not that.
oh.
I had a clip for that.
Oh, you did, yes.
Oh, I cannot get enough of that movie.
I shouldn't share this, but I did have an experience. I did have a pretty good experience with teaching kids to play Castle and Crusades with my son. I had this one girl that joined my son's group, and she played. Her first character was an halfling wizard.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I felt so bad because unfortunately I pinned them up against a situation that might have been a little bit too strong, but he rolled a critical. I rolled again to see what the effect of the critical would do, because in Castles and Crusades, instead of just doubling the damage, you actually roll on a table. And it's not a critical hit. It's not like a hit location table. It's just, what is the effect? Do you only do 1 point of extra damage? Do you do the maximum times 2, times 3, times 4? Well, let's just put it to you this way. The halfling wizard only had 4 hit points and took 24 points of damage.
Survived, in other words.
Oh no, did not survive. It was in the minus 20. Did not survive. So I asked her what she wanted to do. She's like, screw it, new character.
Hey, there we go. That's straight and to the point.
So she made an elf cleric.
Okay.
Chaotic evil, elf cleric that worships an evil deity. So in Castles and Crusades, you have 2 sides of a coin. Clerics can be good, lawful good to all the way down to the neutral, or chaotic evil all the way up to the neutral. If they are in the good axis, they can, when they use the turn undead feature, the zombies either run away or blow up, or the undead either runs away or blows up. It's any undead. If you're chaotic evil, your evil powers are you fuse your chaotic evilness with inside of a corpse, and you raise the undead, and you actually take control of them.
So you're like a necromancer.
Basically, without actually being a necromancer. She does worship a chaotic evil deity, which is actually of my own making. I only like put the name down with a little bit, so I didn't really do much. But now we are actually, her and I are together, expanding on the idea of her deity, because her deity also uses assassins. There's not just clerics in her order. Her deity has an order of which is now also has assassins.
Dude, that is great. You took this little homebrew idea and you're fleshing it out.
Slowly, very slowly though.
But have you played Keep on the Borderlands?
I have not, but I've been reading it, and I've been wanting to get with some people to actually run that with me, because either I want to run it, but I do want to play it too. So I'm kind of in between, because I've read Keep on the Borderlands. I actually ended up acquiring it, and I've just been reading it. I'm like, first edition D&D had so many ideas. There is so many possibilities with that. And the thing is, there's not even, I think in some cases, it even says at the beginning of the book, of the module, that it wants you to take into card that you may have to make some of the maps yourself, or whatever you want to do with it. They do have some maps in there, but you don't have to use them. And they actually even give you paper in there they even tell you to take graph paper of your own and make your own layout for the land for the Keep on the Borderlands. So there's so many possibilities. You don't have to just go in there and hack and slash. You can negotiate. There is also an alliance, I believe, between the monsters.
It's a module I haven't had a chance to play yet, and it's one I've been. Likewise, I do want to get around to playing, just because I like the. It plays into one of the things I really like, where I sit with tabletop RPGs,
Mm-hmm.
is that I largely kind of lean towards them being a world simulation that the players are they're taking part of.
Oh yeah.
So the idea is, as the players go about and explore the land, look around, etc., they in turn help to shape the world, and then things can go on without them there necessarily.
Yes.
Not that you are effectively just playing a solo game, but the idea is it's a world that lives on where effects happen.
And my recommendation for that is, hopefully maybe we can find someone who's actually as fluent with maybe OSR, like how you and I are, especially with me being fluent with Castles and Crusades, because I'm little confession here. I may have a book of monsters just for that module alone that I might have just created out of the blue.
Ooh.
Because I took the monsters from that module and I just converted them to Castle Crusades because I could, and I did, and I made some changes.
So, out of curiosity, have you considered releasing any of this online? Because that seems to be where a big amount of the creative space seems to be.
Oh
Is
yes.
everyone's out there releasing their
Oh
own
yes.
thing?
I do want to. Oh yes. I have every plans in doing that in the future. Once I start completing some of my work, I'm actually writing something on something right now for a 15 chapter book regarding an adventure. So yeah, I do have plans on releasing all of this online, especially if it's OSR, because I think it's time that OSR gets attention. But that's my personal opinion.
Well, I mean, it really seems to be where the creative space is at
Yeah, it is.
with the hobby, because it is just this wide open field. I was looking at some OSR games. Actually, I just ordered this yesterday. It was like basically a OSR take on Vampire
Okay.
the Masquerade,
Mm-hmm.
and alongside, I ordered like a book about cowboys. Alongside, I have a book about 1920s gangsters.
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember. I think you told me about that one. To actually Ironcaster to actually share with you too. OSR is just got. I have to rate its adaptability at 100%. It's got ultimate adaptability. For instance, Castle and Crusades does not have its own template for you playing a goblin. I just made one up and it fits and it's balanced.
Okay.
So to kind of show you, and even some of now all the player races, such as humans, halflings, gnomes, all of them are also in the monster manual. They're not excluded. It's a two-way street. That is what I love about OSR.
Hmm. And even then, there's one of the things I find so interesting about the OSR as far as RPGs go is just how many people have gone in so many separate directions with the same core concept.
Oh yes.
I mean, you have what? There's what, 7, 8 major OSR RPG systems out there.
There's the old school essentials, yes. There's Castles and Crusades, also, which is also dabbles with the Siege engine, which is also OSR. So that's 3. Um, there
Labyrinth Lord.
is which one?
Labyrinth Lord.
Yes. Um, most actual dungeon crawls seem to be OSR now. Um, but I wouldn't count that. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch. Um, we got 4 right there. Yeah, we got half of what you're saying. I mean, there is still a good chunk of, yeah,
Oh,
I would agree with that.
Osric.
Yes. Basic fantasy as well.
Yep.
So there's 6.
Castles and Crusades.
We already mentioned that one, yes.
Oh, I'm just kind of pulling up a list here. I'm trying to see if I can pick out Dungeon Crawl Classics. Is that the big one there?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if we're gonna cut that one, then yeah, because I said that too.
Yeah, like I said, it's
Oh,
there's a few of them, and those are all like kind of the biggest ones, with varying degrees between them all of compatibility.
Yes. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I can make a monster. I can make an encounter. If I don't have an encounter made, I can make one up. Take one out of the book, make one up in under 5 minutes. It literally takes no time. And when T-Shirt said that, I actually put that to the test, and I literally timed myself because I wanted to see how quickly I could do it. And if you're very well very experienced DM, yeah, he wasn't kidding. I proved it. So it doesn't it doesn't take much. The only thing I keep on me when I do that is I keep a sheet next to me explaining the ability scores, because they do make the ability scores. You can go. They in the Castle Crusades, they have 4 different methods for how do you determine what kind of modifiers the scores give you, and they do have 4 options for you. 4. Now that's a lot. It's very well. So I go with the original default for Castles and Crusades. I could go with the normal D20 version, but I've decided to use the default of the Castle Crusades one because I think it adds more of, it's more of the way, I talked to the Witch King. The way he puts it is for D&D, it's kind of like, hey, man, we made that challenge. Yeah, okay, high five. Whereas, oh, my God, I can't believe we made it out of that challenge. That was scary. So I go with the default, what I feel is a little bit harder for the players.
Right. Well, I mean, it seems to me ultimately that the biggest difference is with, say, 5th edition.
Mm-hmm.
The answer to most of your problems can be, and then I draw my sword.
Yeah.
Whereas with some of the other systems, combat is particularly lethal. There's no, you don't have to save. You don't have, you don't have as many options. Wizards and clerics can't heal as often or quickly. You certainly don't have a short rest.
Yep.
And without, even if the system doesn't have skill checks, well, then I it seems to be players aren't looking down to their character sheet for solutions quite as much.
No. And all my players, because we do Castles and Crusades, they don't have skills. So they said, so my son, who is used to using skills because he has played original Dungeons and Dragons, as he's played Pathfinder First Edition as well as 5e Dungeons and Dragons. He asks me, he says, "How do we determine a skill?" It's like, what does matter? What do you need to do? What is in front of you? He's like, okay, Well, I want to climb up there. What kind of check would that be? Well, a strength check. He's like, okay, well, I'm not proficient in that. I'm like, well, then you better roll high. And then instead of sitting there determining the roll, okay, I'm going to say, I'm going to make this easy. Okay. But he still has to make a skill check of 18 or better.
Ooh,
As a result. That's it. Off the top of my head. It's like, well, you're not proficient in it. You need 18 or better after the end result. Well, your strength is a -1, so you have to roll a nat 20 to succeed. That easy.
So
5 minutes off the top of my head.
18, you made that a particularly tough climb.
Yeah. Now, let's turn back and say he's a barbarian. Okay, he's playing a human barbarian. He is proficient with strength. His strength is a +1. Well, then he's going to have to give me a 12 or better. That's literally it. And then if I want to make the climb a little bit harder, I'm going to add a +1 to it. Or if I want to make it steep, I'm going to add a +5 to it. So then he has to roll me a 17 or better. But a person who's not proficient isn't getting up there without some form of help.
Let's see. Brett Cohen says 5th edition is fictitious. It doesn't exist. I mean, 5th edition is okay. I feel like especially the last like 2.5 years of books have been particularly bad. Basically, it seems like everyone kind of agrees post Tasha's something changed at WotC.
I'm going to say this right now. All they're doing is a re-release of the same stuff that they already written before the last couple years. In the beginning, 5th edition started out great, but now all they're doing is re-release.
Re-release, or they'll go and recycle a magic setting. And the best of that was arguably Ravnica or Theros. And then just the worst book of all was Strixhaven.
Yeah, I didn't care for Strixhaven.
Well, the thing is, like, I think I'm also kind of partially falling to the same camp here. So this is just some bias, but everyone just remembers the coffee shop.
Right. Absolutely. Why don't we go through some of the other comments real quick and talk about that?
Let's see. The rush to combat depends on the DM/GM needing to put things in the dungeon that offer alternative solutions that the players can discover, create themselves. You're not wrong. You're not wrong there. It all depends ultimately on the GM. Though I think it's kind of a reciprocal thing where one sort of feeds into the other. And maybe it's just the players that have been cultivated. Hang on, Tabletop had to step away for a sec. So you've got me. But I feel like 5th edition has sort of stifled creativity to an extent. Where where player, and this is something I feel I've fallen into on occasion, where a player's less likely to try and do something outside of the box of skills they have because they don't have it ranked, or where people will look around and say, well, who has the best skill to do this thing? When I feel that what makes sense at the moment should be what happens. Well, the big dumb guy should, of course, try to, that happens to be the closest, might try to pick the lock or do something, and where it's less video gamed. Like a bit of that whole, I guess, min-max sort of thing, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me ultimately.
No, I agree with you. I think everyone focuses on scores, on numbers, and they actually focus on what they would do in a situation. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I've got 2 players that when all the other players were not available, I got 2 players. One played a elf assassin. The other one played an elf cleric. Both elves. None of them are really good with strength at all. But when it comes into they have to make a climb or they have to do something to hold someone down, they did it because they were the only ones there. They didn't focus on who had the better score or who had the better modifier. They just said, well, I got one player who says, well, I'm just going to do it because it needs to be done. We just go through the motion. And I say, okay, here's your role.
So in the current 5e game I'm in, we're basically the DM wanted to basically play level 40.
Oh.
And he's like, well, to do this, I'm going to give everyone like a 26 to use for one stat.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm going to make an artificer with a 26 intelligence. And so I just kind of started leaning into, well, he's a dwarf, and dwarves are known for their greed. So I'm just going to, he's going to kind of just dwarven instinct. Like, he's book smart, but you put him in a dungeon and he's going to go for the treasure every time.
I had a player, it's the Elven Cleric. I don't know. I sometimes don't think she thinks everything through, but I didn't care. She says, it's an ogre, right? And I was like, I took her up against an ogre, the whole party. Everyone ran. She's like, I'm not running. I want to make him my friend. I'm like, well, that's going to be a charisma check. She's like, oh, good. A nat 20. And I was like, well, he's your friend. He's not going to eat you, but he's still hungry. So she ends up saying, well, I'm taking all the rations from the party because they ran away. So she went to all the party members. She took what rations was needed and fed the ogre. I mean, come on. If that's not creative, I mean, they were like, oh my God, it's an ogre. I don't think we could beat it. They left. Now, I don't know what was wrong with that group because I'm going to tell you this right now. I said, okay, well, this group's going to run now. After the ogre, they went up against a 5-headed hydra. And they're like, okay, we're going to take that thing down. Okay, I don't know what's going on here.
We used to run a Doctor Who style time travel campaign. We wound up adapting hero and generic and gurps. They had a role set for many genres. Yeah, gurps is one didn't you play gurps at one point?
Yes, religiously.
You were like the only person in the state of Michigan that played gurps, apparently.
Yeah, I played with friends online. Forgot what we played though.
Oh, you played gurps.
Yeah, it was GURPS. I forgot the setting. I think, it was a supernatural setting. And by supernatural, I mean it was Sam Winchester with Dean Winchester, basically. Yep.
Also, Konosuba does a great job of role-playing the min-maxing. Yes, I can absolutely see that. She's got the 18 wisdom and 3 intelligence.
Absolutely.
Have you watched much of Konosuba?
I have not, but now that was mentioned, I'm definitely going to look into that a little bit more.
Konosuba is an anime that has is an isekai.
Okay.
The whole character set into another world.
Mm-hmm.
And it also has it's been incredibly popular in Japan to the point that it's gone and made its own role-playing game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And in fact, it's even, just to pull my screen up here, the RPG has even been translated.
Huh. Oh, wow.
Also worth pointing out, Grim Jim did a review on his channel.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's one. Give me 1 second. No, sorry. So I thought someone was talking to me, but apparently not. But apparently, the same people have also gone and adapted the Goblin Slayer RPG?
Yes, and that was brought up to my attention as well. But I have not seen Goblin Slayer, so I do want to look into that one too.
Well, I will say it does a fairly decent job of making goblins a threat.
Oh, yeah. It's not the only thing that made goblins a threat. In the OSR, the Monster Manual for Castles and Crusades, an entire, goblins, you only get like half a page. You get a series of basically information that's like in bracket form. Like, you get a bulletin and you get what is said about them, and then you get the description. And it basically describes the entire civilization of goblins in any world. And I basically made up one type of goblin for each. I have literally, officially, a book of goblins. So if I wanted to run a game similar to Goblin Slayer, I think I already partially prepared.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do with that.
Well, like I said, once we, hopefully, once I get moved and everything, I'm definitely going to be getting into, like I said, I'm going to be getting into actual plays a bit more than reviews, but I'm still going to go back and do reviews, but I'm not doing any more reviews for this year. It's all actual plays for the end of the year.
Okay.
So hopefully we will get to see more of that.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to actually take part in one this time around.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So I wanted to take a moment to share with you one or two of the sites I use for some free materials with OSR, because I thought this might be right up your alley, and it might be a good way to show this stuff off.
Absolutely.
So one of the ones I've been kind of really enjoying is called
use that.
Yes, Yum DM.
Yes, I do that. I use that one.
Which puts out a free magazine once a month. And also apparently now they're even doing a secondary one that they release for on their Patreon. And they make these oops, sorry, dropped the ring. Free to download, free to pick up. And you get a good little variety of stuff each month from them.
Mm-hmm.
Such as like,
oh yeah, I've read some of those already. They're very insightful.
And I think it kind of gives me a good bit of inspiration for how to go and make things of my own. Just because it's like,
yes, I made a disease, and for Castles and Crusades, if you go up against a giant rat or a rat, rats do carry diseases. So I made rat fever disease. Because that was not in any OSR, but that was in D20, if you remember correctly. That was in Pathfinder. So I made the rat disease, and it's actually fairly simple, and took me literally, I think, 10 minutes to get the hang of it and go, okay, because there are rules to making your own diseases in Castles and Crusades. So I followed the guidelines and came up with one in like 15, 20 minutes.
One of the ideas I was telling you a little bit about this. I was playing with some idea about sponges.
Sponges.
Interestingly enough, the sea sponge was a particular one I was just like got a little obsessed with for a moment.
I thought that was like a sea crab with a sponge on its back.
Yes. That was actually the part of the inspiration for what I was thinking. So that's actually a creature called the sponge crab. And the sponge crab.
I'm taking it.
Well, I mean, it's an actual animal.
Oh, really? Oh, crap. Okay.
Yes. So the sponge crab will grab bits of actual sponge, like sea sponge, and they'll walk around and carrying them like a bit of camouflage. Sometimes you'll get hermit crabs, for example, that will get a shell that they'll carry around as their home. Others will pick stuff up to blend ins. Others just have the natural coloring. It's really fascinating when you start kind of looking at the way nature does things, especially on like the depths of the ocean floor.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Especially how freaky some of those can look down there.
Oh yes, absolutely. I have to agree. I mean, think about it: a giant sponge crab in a fantasy world.
Well, even then, like my all right. So my idea I was kind of building with was, well, what if I kind of take this and turn it into like a magical artifact? Like, oh,
Oh,
these are sponges that soak up magic.
oh, that's a possibility.
So in theory, you could use one to partially negate magic. So if I were to throw a fireball at you, maybe this particular one will absorb two of the four dice. So
Oh
you're only
yeah.
getting hit with half damage.
Hmm. I have actually dabbled that with myself as well. Creating your own minerals. The inspiration for that was actually the gamers, Dead Gentlemen and Zombie Orifices Entertainment, where they created the realm of Fartherall. They have their own ore in there called Arcanasite, which is actually Arcanasite is created from certain. There's 8 different types of Arcanasite, which is created from different forms of magic. And then also World of Warcraft, where they have Azerite.
Huh.
So I was thinking, well, it's always cool to have your own mineral. I think D&D, they had electricite, which was also used as a term of currency.
Oh yeah, and Phillips is talking about Roll Anvil. This is one I was having some fun playing with for a while. Where you can, I mean, it is good for basically building out and expanding massive worlds.
World Anvil. I don't think I have the pleasure of actually checking that out.
So we'll get rid of that, and I'll show you my screen here too,
All right.
just to show the main page for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so World Anvil is good for managing a whole world.
Oh,
Where
nice.
you can build out all of your. You can fill in details about everything in villages down to like the buildings, the characters, matters of like as they're saying here, the wars and conflicts, the ethnicities, the makeups of the people, the languages. You can design maps. You can basically have a whole little wiki of all your information, the history and the timeline. This is like super in depth.
Oh, yes. I think I did explore that at one point in time. I may have to go back to that because you can actually design family trees and bloodlines. Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive just the amount of like tools that are out there for people to check out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Free, both free and some does come at a premium cost, but some do have free versions of that as well.
That they do. Oh, so we didn't do. It does just on me. Like one of the questions I was asking earlier was about like a genre or whatnot that you would like us to explore more. And I was a little surprised you didn't get into like you didn't bring up Fallout of all things.
um, well, when it comes to something, I mean, I do want to dabble more into Fallout, but when I do Fallout, um, if I ever do a Fallout game, I'll probably use the Genesis system. Just because I don't see myself really buying the Modifius version. I don't think
Was there?
2D. I don't think 2D20. I don't feel because the Modifius system is the 2D20, and it's nothing against Modifius. I just don't feel that that would be accurate for a Fallout game. But that's once again my personal opinion, and I don't want to discourage against those who do like it. I just don't feel it would be a good Fallout game because I played all the Fallouts. I played Fallout 1, 2, and Tactics. I had had the version for, had the terms to do that. And
Yep.
really, if you really want to make it like the video games, if you really want to go that far, the Genesis system would be the best in my book.
You think so?
Well, it does have a rating of 1 to 10 scale for the attributes. You could also change all the attributes to the original, because it also has 6 or 7 attributes. You could change those over to that, and you can actually draft Sandbox from the Genesis system to use it for that. So, yes, I do think so. I could be wrong. Percentile might be even better.
Maybe.
If you really think about it, the actual system that is used in the video games is the percentile.
Oh yeah, I can see where you're getting at with that.
Well, the skills are all percentiles. That if you could rate them from 1 to 100, and they also get a certain sort of bonuses based on what your attributes are. That is basically that is partnered with them. Another one you're probably surprised I didn't mention is Cyberpunk.
Well, actually, come to think of it, didn't you get a chance to play the new version of that?
Yes, I did. I did like it. I'm still studying it a little bit more because it is different from the original of the 2020 and the 2013. So, but I did play the Cyberpunk Red, and I am looking at trying to get back into that as well and do some actual plays on my channel for that as well too, coming up in the near future.
Okay.
It is very difficult. But I think I now have a better grasp of the system. So yes, I will be looking at getting back to that.
Well, have you thought about going back to the original version of it?
Yes. I'm actually buying the reprint. There's a reprint book. I think you can get on drive-through. I've also seen it in some gaming stores. I actually live now, my new place where I'm moving to, I have a gaming store down the road from me within spit shot distance. So I will be definitely going in there, checking out their books. They do, and they even allow you to reserve a room, because they have rooms for D&D that you are allowed to reserve for your own personal friends if you need the space.
Oh.
So yeah.
So what you're saying is, when I get around to coming over, we can go hang out.
Oh, we could do a lot of things.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, the only unfortunate thing here is you're my only gaming friend I really have left locally. So unless you got some gaming friends that may or may not know me, might be recommended to bring them over too.
Yeah. I mean, I just got the one group I play with right now, and some of them are coming up from like Ypsilanti.
Oh wow, that's quite a far, quite a distance.
Yeah, that's like, that's about a good like 40, 50-minute drive minimum, probably about an hour.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I really wouldn't mind getting down with more like mech stuff.
That, I mean, I'm always going to have a special place in my heart for mechs. I will not lie. Who doesn't like giant robots?
Right? I mean, come on.
That's just,
how can you not?
I think that's most of anybody is. You put something big in front of somebody, and they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." So, yeah. Who doesn't like giant robots? I mean, yeah, but giant robots kind of fit in. I don't know if giant robots should be its own genre. They kind of meld with any kind of genre if you think about it.
Because I mean, in theory, you could even like do big giant fantasy robots with like made out of trees,
rock, trees. If you don't like that, you can go to modern day but a little cyberpunky and science fiction, or you can go completely science fiction with space travel, and then you got Gundam. Gundam is a good inspiration of that. BattleTech, where you go from planet to planet, and did you ever check out the BattleTech interactive star map?
I think so.
Yeah, there we are. We really got to get into BattleTech together. I've got to get into that. That's going to probably be on my list. I'm putting it on my list. I'm writing it down now. Because
I as it is, I already have like the core rulebook for like one of the more modern role playing RPG systems.
now have they made this a little bit more? Because I know they just rewrote the BattleTech system, or you got a new book for it, a more updated book for it.
Well, it's MechWarrior Destiny,
right?
And like I said, ultimately it's still the basic system from before. 1 second.
Okay.
It's a 2d6 system.
Okay.
Our favorite dice, the ever so popular D6.
Well, it's always popular. It's a standard dice. D6 was out before D20 was even a thing.
Yeah, it is one of the oldest ones, and it's just in terms of like game. It's in terms of like the modern sense of gaming. The D6 is up there just because, you can always just rate a copy of Monopoly.
Yeah, exactly. No, I definitely got to get more into BattleTech because that was like a thing for me. I love giant mechs. I don't know what kind of mech I would want though. A light, or if I'm just the megalomaniac, go with the assault vehicle type. If the point, because I believe it also operates on a point system. If the point system actually, like from what I understand, you could play a certain mech if the bank system or however it is rated. Like, okay, if the GM says, "Oh, you can use heavier mechs," then yeah, I'd definitely go with the assault type. But I personally like the light raptor type if they have that still. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I think so.
Looks like a bird, and he's got mini guns as the arms. I don't know if that. I'm pretty sure that wasn't just Mech Assault. That could be Mech Assault speaking too, because I did play Mech Assault and I did play.
Let's see. This is what Sarna says is the Raptor.
Yep, I would definitely use one of those. Quick on their feet, easy. They don't generate a lot of heat, or like they do if you go long distance.
Yeah, personally, I'm a big fan of the Archer, which is a bit of a heavier mech.
Oh yeah, yes. Is that the heavy or the assault assault type? Because I know there's 4 different types.
Oh, let's just back up a little bit. Let's just see what it's classified as here.
I use Sarna.
It is a heavy.
Yeah.
But dude, I freaking love this thing. It's like, yeah, the Mad Cat's always just such an iconic mech in terms of Mech Warrior because it's basically the face piece. But, dude, come on.
Man, I will have the space to build a gaming table. Man, now I want to play BattleTech.
I mean, really, you don't even need to have a big giant table because we just basically use a kitchen table and a couple of fold out paper mats.
Oh yes. That's kind of what I meant. But...
I mean, heck, one of the hobby shops we used to go to, on Sundays, people get in there and they play.
Oh, nice.
You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, now that I'm back around town, and I won't say where, but now that you and I are collabing more, I definitely want to get together for just a Sunday game. A Sunday where we just sit and chill. We used to do that.
Oh, yeah. Well, the problem is like every other Sunday, I have my 5e game.
Fair enough.
Have you guys thought about streaming your games? Maybe earning money? It's I mean, the problem with it is it feels like it's a super packed field of people that are all streaming their games, and I'm always kind of like a little worried, like, isn't necessarily going to have the same sort of return on investment.
Yeah. My only
I mean,
issue
don't
with
get me
that is
wrong.
I think everybody on Twitch is kind of doing that.
Yeah,
You know?
like I said, I feel like it's just a packed field. Oh
Yeah.
shoot! What the?
I mean, I
What's
thought
that?
about it. I've sat down and thought about it hardcore. But the issue is, I feel we would need a custom system that we use for sound quality and whatnot that we would not be able to use to make a really big impact on that using StreamYards. You know what I'm saying? We'd have to use a system that would allow us to make special borders and stuff to get because if you're gonna do something like that, you want to catch players' eyes.
Oh, hang on. Philip's a Mad Cat fan.
Nice.
Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with loving the poster boy.
Nope. So the Mad Cat, is that like a heavy mech or a medium mech? Because if so, then we got to get him on this because then we got a player with a light mech, a heavy mech, and a medium mech. I think we can do some damage.
I mean, the Mad Cat, like I said, is just the poster boy mech.
Right. Okay. Very true.
Here, let me do this just to show her off.
I think that would be
Like, I certainly can't blame anyone for being a fan of the Mad Cat, and I'm.
no.
I've got a correction. The Merrick Marauder. Yes, dude. I'm all about House Merrick.
I'm more of the free House Merit. That I'm more of
Is the Free Rolls League.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm more.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Cool. Awesome.
Like, I mean, what's not to love about like the people that are busy fighting civil wars with one another so often that like they wind up getting just it's like, hey, only I get to beat the shit out of my brother, and if you try to touch him, I will go after you. It's like,
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna fight my brother, and if anyone else tries to fight him, then we're gonna gang up and fight them.
Yeah. Oh man, it has been a rewarding experience being here.
Have you heard of Tex Talks BattleTech?
I have, but no, I have not looked into it. But I think you brought them up a few months ago.
So Tex Talk, so it's a channel called Black Pants Legion
Mm-hmm.
that they're huge fans of BattleTech.
Okay.
And they've gone and put in like hours of work just going over the story of the universe BattleTech. And these 2.5 hour documentaries. A couple of these documentaries are like 2 hours each. They chalk in at.
Oh wow.
And he's like, oh, just building up all the universe of just like the story of how one single mech came about.
And then another, and then another, and then there went the universe.
Yes. But because everyone loves big robots and beating the shit out of each other.
Yes. Well, you know what? People love sports. I think it's a very sporty. If you manage to survive, you can just get into another mech and bring it to the table. You're like, okay, well, now our team releases this mech onto your ass. You know, it's a sporty.
Well, I mean, just to kind of compare and contrast slightly with the likes of Warhammer 40K.
Yes.
With that, it seems like they're particularly specific about how your units are. They all have your units all have to be painted. They have to be painted in the appropriate like chapter colors. They have to be. You have to have them all with like proprietary first party parts glued onto them. You can't do any kit bashing.
So you can't mix it up.
And also, yeah, that's the other thing. You also can't mix up units from different different teams. So I can't have orcs and necrons on this in the same deployment.
But we can have many different types of mechs in the same deployment.
Right. So I could sit here with
I like that better.
I could be using the dragon alongside my archer and an atlas.
Now, what if one of those mechs belongs to a different house because it wasn't part of BattleTech that some of the mechs did get sold off to or somehow built by those houses only exclusively? Is that a possibility or no? Or am I mixing this up?
Oh no. Oh, dude, you're totally right. The idea goes that it's all salvage. It's all salvage of war.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, so hey, and also everyone's got their own. They can basically have their own independent little, their own little squadrons. So I could sit here and start the Iron Legion for the of House Ironcaster or whatever, and you know it's like a mercenary band that has salvaged mechs from different battlefields, and so yeah, I could justify having mechs from all these different places.
The junkies of tabletop.
Big stompy robots. Damn right, Philip. Yeah, and that's kind of one of the issues I see with Warhammer, because it's kind of annoying that, well, I like the look of this, but in order to start, you know, it's like I like the big Egyptian robot skeletons of the Necrons, but orcs are dumb and really fun, and I wouldn't want to have to build and have to drop $100 just to build an army just to justify wanting to have a couple, you know?
Right.
Whereas it seems to me with BattleTech, thanks to all the third-party printing companies out there, and the fact that I can buy an army for like $30.
Yeah, that's helpful.
I can, and also I can if I happen to have minis from like 20 years ago, I can still use those today.
Yeah.
I don't have to keep buying new models just to stay up to date with what they're doing.
That's definitely like a big highlight for me for that is you can use whatever you want.
Right? And also, like, I mean, Philip says it right here. Big stompy robots.
I know. That's big. I don't really care what we're doing. They're big robots, and you know, if you now, I mean, in BattleTech, you can even come across like people's bases, like small bases and stuff, and blow them. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, where's the mechs at the other side of these? Well, I'm sorry, but these are like the enemy. Sorry, and I'll just unload all over the buildings that can't do anything. I mean,
it's got its own universe full of stories, novels, and there are almost first person. There's the Mech Warrior Online where you just jump and drop into a mech, and you and like a dozen people are fighting a dozen people.
Oh yeah,
like that's the only part of Mech Warrior my brother cares about. He just wants to play Mech Warrior Online. He just wants to drop in a mech. He doesn't give a shit about anything about the universe. He's like, I don't care about what the name of this mech, about what the name of these mechs are beyond the one I like. I just want to drop in a robot. I want to go stomp buildings and shoot people.
the story's half the fun.
I know, and it's like that's half the engagement. He
Yeah,
doesn't care. It's like, it's unfortunate because he's like, I don't care about what I don't care about whatever a clan is.
but that's half the fun.
Yeah, but you know what? If that's how he wants to enjoy it, that's fine.
Yay, that's
We have to agree.
to each their own.
Yeah, I
But
can't get
man,
too upset because he's.
but me, I would want to know what I'm doing. I would want to know the story so that way I can play with both halves of fun and have the full experience. That's just me. Again, to each their own.
And it's unfortunate because then there's even like. Because even then, there's like all the BattleTech memes.
Oh yes.
Wait, you can't sell the lead miniatures in New York?
We can sell lead bullets all day long. Oh, jeez. There's something kind of messed up on that one. I'm not gonna lie.
You mean aside from being New York?
Well, you can sell dangerous bullets, but you can't sell harmless minis.
I don't know.
I think somewhere the world's got it is kind of ass backwards, but that's just me. Anyway, this is Positivistream. Oh, okay. Slight exaggeration. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure they would have to be a certain age, like 18. Who knows?
I don't know. Oh, I think he was referencing that thing about the Nerf guns that were a problem in New York, like last week.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, there was a thing where like just due to like some like Hasbro Nerf guns that were under New York law considered like declared a weapon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never heard about that. Wow. I've been under a rock.
Nothing above.
Yeah, there's probably a reason for that, though. Wait, are the miniatures for the miniatures aren't lead for
BattleTech?
Oh, okay, those are lead for BattleTech. Okay,
well,
I was
no.
thinking of the Warhammer.
They all used to be metal, pewter or lead.
Oh, okay.
And a number of years ago, they changed that, and they started going to printing using using plastic.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, you can still get for like I said, I'm not exaggerating when I say about $30.
Right.
You can get a BattleTech Battle Lance.
I am now in the mood to play BattleTech.
And I mean, here, just for example, I'll pull up just because it's the easiest one to show off. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say for about $20. 4MX.
Oh, geez.
And in, for example, BattleTech,
mm-hmm.
like 4MX is effectively an army for deploying. That's all you need.
Right.
So you could like effectively mix and match like 3 or 4 of those for your needs.
Yeah.
If you're like, I like most of these, but I want to change them up and I want to use one from this.
Oh, nice. And you said Warhammer, you have to paint them by chapter colors and stuff like that. Like with BattleTech, you don't have to do that.
I mean, that's half the fun. That is half the fun to paint your minis.
Right, but paint them how you like them to make them unique to you.
Right. It's like, I think people are just, there is to an extent with that, to my understanding, people like kind of want to have the universe kind of taken seriously to an extent. So it's like, well, yeah, we'd kind of like to have you paint your mechs with like an appropriate color scheme, but so no, you can't have pony warriors.
Right.
It's
My
like
color scheme would be red and black.
I get that, but I want to have fun.
Right, exactly.
And yeah, it's been pretty fun, I gotta say, ultimately, going through, reading up on the universe and getting into all that. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate with what happened with Blaine Pardoe.
Ooh, I didn't hear anything about that either.
Oh, that's a whole thing that happened.
Oh boy.
But I can send you some stuff about that later.
Yeah. Positive. We're here for
positive. Yeah, we're here for
Monday.
the positivity.
Yes, we're here because we want to be here, not because we feel like we have to be negative on the stream. We want to lay the foundation for the positive week because, man, I'm going to tell you, my week is going to be super stressful in some cases, but it's going to be fun because in the end, I get my own studio.
Dude, that is fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
And I mean, you are, and we'll be able to hang out again soon.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I mean, just plus. Okay. So what do we have? I got my own studio. You and I are going to be able to hang out again. We are, now we just told the world we're friends in real life. We're gaming buddies. When I started gaming, you started gaming. Okay. And I have a gaming store. I live near 2 gaming stores, 3 actually. It depends if you want to go left or right down my street. I got 3 near me.
So what you need to do is, this is a sign that you need to like become a professional gamer.
I thought about it.
I did think
about it, but
and then I mean, you basically got to lean hard into all of it. You got to like get into the Magic the Gathering, and then you got to start playing tournaments and play and win tens of thousands of dollars per tournament.
Oh man, I don't know about all that. Sounds like it. Sounds like it's a job at that point.
I mean, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a job I'd love to do though.
Speaking of jobs to do, we got a couple chats here, such as Manowar 665, the neighbor of the beast. Was saying cheers and hail, amigos.
Hail.
Yep. Yeah. No. It seems like they've been pretty good with balancing the battle lances for BattleTech. Also, the fact that as I'm like going down the page on Amazon, there's like about a dozen different battle lances to choose from. So you got choices.
Yes.
He says you are supposed to paint them if you going to a tournament or a con, but save that at a store or home obnoxious is okay. Yeah. Like I don't want to go to the local store where like the owner's being a dick about it, which I get that. I mean, it makes sense for it. I would probably encourage it just because it helps us to differentiate units and try to paint your stuff with a theme. That's like a color scheme, if nothing else. Yes. I mean, then again, you know what would be kind of fun to do if if say you and I going back and forth playing BattleTech, and we do like a campaign with a series of battles, and depending on we each have like a dozen or so mechs, but then we're choosing what to bring into a battle. Well, then between battles, I might be able to salvage stuff from you.
Right.
And now I have a new mech that, is one of your old ones I've managed to salvage and pull parts from. And now I have to kind of mine the ammo and the ammunition and what I'm bringing to a battle because I might need to save it for the next one.
I got your arm off the, off of Tabletop Junkie is one of his mechs. Now he gives me a special weapon. Also, it has the dice on the side.
Yeah. Washers glued under the bases can help plastic with the weight issue. Oh yeah, yeah. That I've seen people do that. Give that extra bit of weight just to help keep them help do that. Or what I've seen people do as well is magnets.
Mm.
That way they can have like a little metallic tray, then they can just plant their mechs like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I've been. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So you know, I've been playing a few different games lately, and one of the things I would like to see more of, to an extent, is the sort of like fantasy vampire kingdoms, kind of like the Underworld movies.
Ah.
It seems like it would be kind of the thing that I think you know. I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. World of Darkness did have a Dark Age edition for all their different types of creatures, such as vampire. There was Dark Ages for vampire, Dark Ages for I think werewolves and changelings even.
Well, I think the whole idea was they took it and they went and put all the different books in different settings. So I think they did one in like ancient Rome, and they did one in
yes,
like
they did.
All of those.
Yes,
So there's always something there to check out.
Oh yes.
But it seems like I don't know. Is it me? It just seems like people seem to be having a lot of problems with a lot of the modern systems.
Well, I wouldn't say modern. They have I mean, they do. I mean, I have problems with some of their like. I had an issue with the 5th edition Vampire. Now, nothing against the new company that runs that, but I created a character, had everything done, and then somebody says, "Oh, well, you have to make a connection sheet with your sire and a couple connections here and there." And I'm like, why? I don't have anything that would warrant that. I don't have any servants. I don't have any connections. I'm a newly made vampire. I don't have this. I don't have that. They said, well, you still have to come up with it. And it actually does say in the system it was mandatory. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's simple. I'm out. Because we worked on characters for over 3 hours. And we're talking just filling in a few dots. And then we had to come up with the core tier system. And I'm like, okay, this is it's very restrictive. And I did not like it. So I went back to the old style of vampires.
Oh, you mean like
Vampire the Masquerade.
Okay, I thought you were about to say Vampire the Requiem.
No, Vampire the Requiem is still pretty simplistic as far as I know. I don't think they made a 5th edition for that. I know they made a 5th edition for Vampire the Masquerade, and it was a very restrictive system, and I didn't really...
Oh, I mean, just because, it's T-shirt historian's favorite system.
Oh, the system itself is... I mean, the system is based off the storyteller system. I like the storyteller system, too, myself. I just didn't like that particular detail that they had in 5th edition. It was a little bit different to that system.
So I feel like this might be a good place for us to kind of end for today.
Okay.
Would you be against? Would you be? Hopefully, we can do this again soon. So
yes, and I would not be against it if that was your question.
Yes, that was actually what I was trying to roundabout ask.
Nope.
And then we'll have to sit down and we'll find something to go over. I figure, absolutely. I don't know, maybe we can find a book or something to go through. Like the Old School Essentials, for example, has a lot. Or even since I'm surprised it never came up. The like Stars Without Number, Worlds Without Number, Kevin Crawford's books.
Oh yes, yes, and I've been reading those too. I've been reading Worlds Without Numbers a little bit, just because I just wanted to dabble. So I will have to brush up on that. I'm actually getting ready to sit down. As I said, I'm kind of busy for the rest of this week, but if you want to plan something for next week, I should be more than what's the word? I'll be more than available, but I'd be more than ready to talk about something then too. Just for the simple fact that I will have my rig and everything. My studio will be up and running tomorrow, either tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. I'm
Okay.
getting it done in the next 2 days, so I will have access to all my materials. I'll have access to, and my books will be down here too because my books are going in my studio. So all my books will be in the studio. Everything, the studio will be fully operational tomorrow. Might be the only thing fully operational tomorrow because I'll be working very, very hard.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Well, this is us making the most of Monday.
Yes,
Guys,
absolutely.
I hope you all go out there, you make the most of yours, have some fun, maybe go throw on a good movie, get yourself a good meal. Don't get the diarrhea from Taco Bell.
Or maybe you sit down and play a good tabletop game with some friends. Get some close friends together, get the family together, get your kids together. This is a community, a heartwarming community, and very positive one that we like to, or at least if it's not positive, it should be. Because that's what tabletop is all about, is sitting down, having fun, and spending the best time that you can with your friends or family.
I couldn't put it any better. Till next time, guys. Take care.